Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head and we're doing the second ending called the Crying Sky ending. We're right at the end, we're in chapter 9. We've just looked at Delusion Trigger number 43 when we hear Nanami's voice after chatting with Grim. And we're going to have another Delusion Trigger. And then we're straight on to the ending, so let's do that. So the next delusion trigger that we're going to hit is when we're standing before a crowd of people. So that's the next one. Where's this crowd of people? There's Yua and her twin sister. Did we actually get an actual answer as to the reason why there's two of them? Like, is there actually a twin sister? Or was that wrong? Am I an idiot for not knowing that already? Probably. Crowd of people. Oh yeah, there's Remy sitting down. Okay, here's the crowd of people, and we've got to have neutral. For revenge! Where's the person who's going to kill me, Sarah? Right in front of you! Right in front of me. This tremendous crowd. On this cold autumn night. Just what kind of festival could make so many people gather here, to the point of there being no room to breathe? Suddenly, the wall of people opened up before me like I was Moses from the Bible. Okay, so we know that we did this last time because I think this was the point where Remy had said, don't do any more delusions, so I stuck to doing neutral. So we can skip past this if you want to go see that. Have a look at the episode, I don't know what it would be, 52? Let me know if that's the right one. Let's move on. So now we can go to... So if you've successfully viewed at least 11 of the above scenes, the game will branch into the Crying Sky ending during Chapter 10's underground train station scene. So let's go there. Chapter 10. And there's the real Takumi. We're going to skip past all of this. We've got our sword. We get to chopping. Where's Crying Sky? Come on. And that's the real murderer. Rose Head. She's the real Chaos Head. Not funny. Okay, we're in chapter 10. Cool. Earthquake. And then, shortly after this, we're going to go underground. As soon as we rescue Ayase, Yua, and our sister, right? Yep, there we go. And they go to hospital. Or go to see some emergency. Somebody, right? There's Sewer. Oh, what? Oh, hang on. This is different. Oh, fuck. Hang on. Right, I skipped a bunch of stuff here that I shouldn't have. So hang on. Can I go back? In front of them. Something was coming closer. Okay, hang on. Let's go to the... Let us go to quick load. This one, which is today. Let's go through this slowly. I'm pretty sure that's new. Here we go, Crying Sky! Okay, so I went through all of that and I shouldn't have. Okay, cool. So this is going to be slightly different at the top. And then it's going to get real different. I was standing atop a body of water. Incredibly clear, transparent water. It was shallow, reaching only my ankles, but it was not cold. Intermittently, The waves whispered in my ears. I was tightly grasping the handles of a wheelchair. Shogun, no, the real Nishijiro Takumi, was right before me, his head adorned with his knitted cap. He sat ever so slightly hunched forward in his wheelchair. Okay. During Chapter 10's underground train station. Okay, I'm pretty sure we can go to that scene, because I think all of this is similar. So I'm going to try not to be too trigger happy. Here. And then when we're underground, we're going to stop. It's going to diverge there, I think. Okay, we can skip all this. It's a good job I didn't do all of this. We've done it all. Skip that. Okay, yep, we did this. Just checking. Okay, here we are. So we have... During Chapter 10's underground train station scene, okay. Finally! I finally found you! At the end of her gaze. In the dark recesses of the platform, two figures stood shoulder to shoulder. Okay, so we didn't have Narose here, did we? One was a tall man wearing an expensive suit. His whole body exuded an aura of refinement. He had excellent posture and a relaxed smile rested on his lips. The other was a homeless man clad in filthy rags. His hair was unkempt and shaggy and his face was covered in stubble. The man's head was hung low, rendering his expression difficult to accurately discern. Their appearances contrasted violently. But the two men did nothing but stand silently on the dim, empty station platform. Senna felt nothing but raw hatred toward both of them. Narose, Genichi, and Hitano... I see. Even if she wanted to forget about them, she would never have been able to. The ones who killed my mum and sister. Here to say hello to me. A long time ago, her mother and her little sister had met their gruesome ends right before her eyes, and the people before her now were the very people who had killed them. It was never my intent, Senna. With his head still hung low, the homeless man, Hitano, let out a desolate murmur. I tried to stop the experiment, but once the gears had begun to turn, I was no longer able to stop them alone. This man. Hitano took a fleeting glance at Narose's expression. Narose said nothing. His composed attitude remained unmoving. This man. He was the one who ordered the experiment's continuation. I never decide what came afterward. I never decide what came afterward. The fault lies with this man, Narose. Please, understand this, Senna. Senna's repugnance billowed as she listened to his words of repentance. Repentance? Repentance. Repentance. You let my mum and sister die. That's an undeniable truth. If you regret it so badly, why did you run? To protect the world. Bullshit! I cannot say I admire the disobedience toward your father, miss. Oh, I see, that's Narose. It was the first time Narose had spoken. Indeed, your family meeting a tragic end was the result of the order I had issued. We'd already collected a sufficient amount of data. The experiment truly was fruitful. Fruitful? Senna swiftly rebooted the D-sword that she held in her hands. The resulting shockwave stirred her long black hair. Kill him, Senna. He is the source of everything. I don't need you to tell me that. Senna had already kicked powerfully off the platform. Without brandishing her sword, she closed the distance, a phenomenal display of her explosive power. Her target, Narose Genichi. And then he was dead. She mowed him down with the D-sword. Even the air was torn to shreds. Narose's head tore free and flew away from its source. Senna followed it with her eyes, when suddenly... Norose's flying head distorted mid-flight and transformed into that of her father's. Stunned, she looked at the headless body that stood before her. It had been wearing a suit only a moment ago, but now it donned the clothes of a homeless man. Devoid now of any and all power, it tumbled backward lifelessly. Oh my god. Eyes wide as could be, Senna looked at Hatano, who'd been standing just beside it. He turned to face her, in return, his bearded face warped into a vicious sneer. His face contorted as if a mosaic had been affixed to it, and his body contorted in a similar fashion. It was Sewer. The very next instant, Hatano looked at the face of the man Senna did not recognize. Or took on the face. His age, his face, his aura, they all differed greatly from her father's. Senna was overwhelmed with confusion. She took another unblinking look at the head that she'd just severed. After tracing an arc as it flew, it had splattered blood upon where it struck the concrete. It was her father's face. It was her father's head. Senna could not look away. An illusion made by a delusion. Realizing that, Senna's breathing grew shallow and ragged. Everyone's breathing is ragged in this game. You know, Senna-chan. The man who was supposed to be her father, the man who was now a completely different person, spoke Senna's name in a far too friendly way. What you did just now, doesn't it pretty much make you the same as your old man? It was a result she'd longed for all throughout these past 6 months. It should have been. It should have been, and yet Senna was assailed by a fierce inner turmoil. Her father, who had been reduced to just a head, had his eyes trained directly on Senna. Decapitating your own father, now that's gnarly. Dad. Still not comprehending why she was experiencing such a psychological shock, Senna heard something tear deep inside her eyes. I wasn't sure whether that was tear or tear. I heard a voice. A scream of Senna's mind. A scream which cursed reality. A scream which emulated madness. Emulated. I followed that cry all the way to Shinsen Station. By the time I got there, it was already too late. When I set foot into the dim platform, the faint smell of blood hung in the air. Koza P was lying against the wall unconscious. And there on the platform was Senna, sunk to the ground with her back facing me. Her head was pointed down and her long hair was covering her face. I couldn't see her expression. Right beside her was a headless body. It then occurred to me that the round object flying a few meters away was the head that had once been attached to it. It was Atano-san. The moment I realised that, I bit my lip hard. Oh man, talk about a stroke of luck! A man was standing on the tracks. Contrasting heavily with the suit he was wearing, he had a rucksack on his back. A harsh mechanical noise was emanating from it. Suwa Mamura, a detective from the Metropolitan Police Department's Investigation Division. This wasn't the first time I'd run into him, and I knew exactly what he'd done. You see, I originally came here to get rid of those annoying-ass Hatanos. But look who decided to crash the party. What's up, Nishijou-kun? I really appreciate you tossing yourself into the line of fire like that. I was told to grab you if I ran into you, so here we are. By who? That one's top secret. He smiled a flippant smile, one that was somewhat reminiscent of Detective Ban's. But there was one key difference. Detective Ban's smile had always been just an act meant to throw people off, or rile them up. When it came to Suwa, however, this sly smile was who he truly was. Hey asshole, you know where to find Narose? Oh come on, Nishijou-kun. Suwa heaved a sigh as he shook his head in an exaggerated manner. Would it kill you to throw a bit more respect my way? I'm older than you know. With my eyes still trained on Sewer, I cautiously jumped down from the platform and onto the tracks. Senna was still motionless, so I ended up effectively shielding her back. You. You were the one who killed Ban. Yeah? What of it? You're a detective, yet you go as low as to kill people. That's real rich coming from you. I gripped my D-sword tightly, as if I'd ever be polite to a bastard like you. Like I said, that's real fucking rich coming from you. Even from this distance, it was clear to see the smile on Sewer's face had disappeared. You're just as much of a murderer as I am. And no, I won't let you call bullshit. You killed Hazuki Shino. You have no idea how much I'd love to tear you to fucking shreds right now. Hazuki Shino. Why don't I know who that is? Who is Hazuki Shino? Hazuki Shino. Oh, that's her, isn't it? That's the nurse, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. That's right. Okay, cool. I'm with it now. Hazuki Shino. The nurse who'd been the real new gen culprit. She and Sewer were both disciples of the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. Was that all? I gulped audibly. For the sake of the Divine Light's salvation, I'll restrain myself, but in exchange, I will make absolutely sure to murder your heart and mind. I attempted to brandish my D-sword, but it was obvious that I wouldn't be able to do anything. It was just a reflex, and just like I'd expected, I wasn't able to do anything at all. I found myself in a dimly lit room. In that room was a single man, talking to another much older man through a large screen. Suwa-kun, I've prepared a form of training I'd like for you and Hazuki-kun to undertake. Yes, sir, whatever you like. I want you to kill... Who is it I'll be killing, sir? There's no particular reason regarding who. Humbly, sir, may I hear more? Let us say there are no exact rules on the matter, simply obey the orders of whom to kill and how to kill them. To bring about the completion of Project Noah, it is crucial that we enact a psychological attack upon the boy known as Nishijo Takumi. An attack, sir? You must instill in him the greatest of terrors, but beware, for the boy harbours a frightening power. Direct engagements will require extreme caution. Therefore, I ask that you create a string of abominable incidents, a set of grotesque serial killings. Murdering people just for that? Having doubts? Is Shino to take part in this training? Why, of course! This is all to build our utopia of the Divine Light. You too shall bring about the salvation of the Divine Light. If that is what you command, then it shall be done. Incidentally, Hazuki-kun has blessed us with a child within her womb. Pray tell, how soon is the delivery? 2 months, sir. Offer it forth. Offer your child so that we may bathe in the salvation of the Divine Light. Really? You wish for me to kill it? It is a holy sacrifice. Offer your child and you'll both bring about the great salvation of the Divine Light. He likes the Divine Light, doesn't he? The great salvation of the Divine Light. With pleasure, sir. All will be as the glorious founder commands. I know Shino will be similarly pleased. May the Divine Light save us. Everybody is weird. Suddenly, an insanely powerful wind blew against me. It pushed me backward hard, nearly knocking me over. I tried desperately to brace myself against it. However, my body didn't do what I asked. Instead, my body curled up into a ball on the spot. My body wouldn't listen to me. It moved by itself, It was like my body wasn't my own. Before I knew it, my surroundings had gone completely dark. When I looked below, I saw the nightscape spreading out before me. If I didn't know any better, I could have easily mistaken all the lights as a sky full of stars. I suddenly realised that I was standing somewhere ridiculously high up. Beside me were 4 men and women I'd never met. No, I knew one of them. Ewa, for some reason, though, she wasn't wearing oh, I see. Ewa, for some reason, though, she wasn't wearing her glasses, so that's her sister. So she does have a sister. She did die in the thing. No, that wasn't Ewa. It was Mia. Ewa's younger twin sister, the one who should have died a month ago. Which meant this was the roof of Cornelius Tower. My body wasn't my own. I was wearing a school uniform I didn't recognise. Even the body type was brawnier than my own. And when I saw what the 4 other people huddled together on the ground, wailing loudly as tears poured down their faces, it led me to guess what exactly was happening. This body that my consciousness had invaded belonged to one of the 5 victims who died in the first New Gen case, the group dive. Through no will of my own, my field of vision ever so slowly panned over toward the helipad. Shogun had filmed the video, so he should have been here somewhere. There. Shogun was wearing a Darth Spider helmet on his head, and a black cloak draped over his body. When Shogun had cornered me at O-Front, he'd been wearing something similar. But was this guy actually Shogun? No. His legs were slightly peeking out from his black cloak. He was very clearly wearing slacks. The Shogun I know would never wear slacks. In addition, his legs were thick, like those of a healthy adult male's. They weren't the skinny, pathetic legs that belonged to Shogun, to Nishijiro Takumi. No bones protruding from them. And when I looked closer, I realised that even his sitting height was completely different. The cloak kept them hidden, but his shoulders also looked fairly broad. At the very least, the man wasn't Nishijiro Takumi. And he wasn't carrying a video camera. Suddenly, from the darkness spreading out behind the fake Shogun, I heard footsteps. Dragging footsteps. And not just one set of them. It wasn't a hallucination. The strange footsteps belonged to many, many people. There had to be several dozen unknown entities lurking in the darkness. The footsteps hadn't been in the video that had been uploaded on YouTube. Not to mention there shouldn't have been any way for this many people to have gained access to the helipad. Then what the hell was this sound? The 4 others beside me continued to wail in grief. Through no will of my own, my body similarly let out a cry, and then began to tremble. Ugh. Ugh. Something was coming closer. If I was in a low-budget horror movie, these dragging footsteps would have been zombies. Zombies with both arms hanging down limply in front of them. Their decaying bodies slowly swaying as they walked. But that was just in the movies. In reality, and especially in 21st century Tokyo, there was no way a horde of zombies could possibly just show up like that. But if that was the case, then what were they? My heart felt like it was going to seize up in terror. I wanted to look away. But the owner of the body I'd invaded refused to do so. Finally, the unknown entities began to emerge from the darkness. They choked all remaining space on the helipad, sealing off our escape route. I wasn't sure if it was right to call it anticlimactic, but the ones who appeared were perfectly normal people. They wore suits, school uniforms, parkas, and they were of different ages and sexes. but they were still all people you'd expect to find walking around Shibuya at night. Save for one thing. Every one of the nearly 100 people there was gripping some sort of bladed object. None of them said a word, nor even tried to. All that could be heard was their raspy nasal breaths pooling together into an abysmal cacophony. For some reason I couldn't see their expressions very well. It was like their faces were made of paint that had been blurred by water. Their faces were blurry and disfigured. Were their faces actually deformed? Or was my sight itself the problem? I didn't know. They were sluggishly yet steadily coming toward us. They were like robots that had been programmed with a single mission. I thought that perhaps the fake Shogun was ordering them around, but that didn't seem to be the case. Every once in a while he'd move his wheelchair forward slightly, only to freeze once again and not move a single inch beyond that. The 5 people had all been cornered and now they'd nowhere to run. In order to escape from the 180-meter high rooftop, they had no choice but to dive. Grasping their blades, the mob grew closer. Closer and closer, little by little. Eventually they were within reaching distance. And yet, even in these final moments, they all stayed completely silent. As well as this, even as they drew nearer and nearer, they didn't make any attempt to jump on any of the victims. But this strange behaviour only served to make them all the more terrifying. Terrifying enough to make me think. I need to get out of here, even if it means I have to jump. Whose eyes are those eyes? I heard an unexpected voice. The voice of the real Shogun, Nishijo Takumi. Oh, however, I hadn't heard it from the man wearing the Darth Spider helmet, but from overhead. And it seemed like I hadn't been the only one to hear it. As if they'd rehearsed it, the 5-cornered people all stood up, joined hands with one another and looked up at the night sky. Naturally, only the starry sky spread across the night. Shogun was nowhere to be found. Mind reading. Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh, he sounds like, whose eyes are those eyes? My field of vision slowly panned. And then I saw something strange. Even though the nightscape should have been the only thing spreading out below me, I saw a long flight of stairs stretching downward. It led right to the roof of the adjacent building, not Science City, which was across the Metropolitan Highway. But the building nestled up close to Cornelius Tower. A building nestled close to Cornelius Tower. Oh, a fact that didn't make any sense, because no such building existed in reality. I guess who was saying that? Nobody. Even so, the 5 people held no suspicions about the stairwell, that it was delusionary. All they thought about was how they'd been saved by it. These thoughts, these emotions were conveyed distinctly to me, and then with only them in mind, they stepped forward. Hand in hand. They'd yet to let go even once. It was exactly how the group dive had ended. None of them had possessed any desire to dive. So when the staircase they'd been so convinced was real disappeared, the feeling of empty air deeply shocked them. And as they fell, they screamed from the deepest depths of their hearts. Falling. Wind pressure violently assaulted my body. The shrieks of the girl next to me emulated howls of the most terrifying of beasts. She clutched my hands so tightly her nails dug into my flesh. The time it took for us to fall those 180 meters felt like an eternity. The dark earth rushed toward us with incredible speed. Our surroundings were so dark. I started to hallucinate about falling into a never-ending abyss, one that endlessly sucked me. Hang on. Stop! Okay, and then I'm dead. What was that at the very end? I started to hallucinate about falling into a never-ending abyss, one that endlessly sucked me down deeper and deeper, and then... Okay, cool. The bodies of 5 people collided with the earth. With a sickening crunch, They were pulverized. The pain struck without me expecting it, a single blow that led straight to death. The impact felt like my entire body had exploded, and then been ground into a fine powder from the inside out. I felt the sensation of my heart violently contracting from the shock, and then my consciousness was severed. My eyes were forced open, and a new scene burst forth in front of me. I'm going to find out exactly what this new scene is next time on Borderline Games. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Chaos Head. I thought we were going to finish it this time, but we're going to finish Crying Sky next time on Borderline Games. Take care of yourselves. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.